So Newcastle United have been put up for sale. It was announced yesterday that Mike Ashley has officially put the club up for sale, stating his intention to leave the club and hopefully conclude a deal before Christmas. There's been talk for weeks about a potential takeover at St James's Park, especially after the presence of Amanda Staveley at the Liverpool game, the woman who brokered the deal that saw Man City taken over by Sheikh Mansour. The relationship between Newcastle fans and Mike Ashley hasn't been the prettiest. We've seen multiple protests over the years by fans unhappy with the sports direct man's ownership, with Ashley having been reluctant to dip his hand into his pocket and improve the team. But there was a loud cheer on Tyneside yesterday as a statement from the club made it very clear that Newcastle were on the market and looking for a new owner. While it seems likely that there will be a new hierarchy at Newcastle sooner rather than later, let's take a look at 6 huge takeover deals that didn't happen. We'll start with Newcastle and Vince McMahon. One of the craziest takeover rumours in years gone by, there was a moment in time when WWE chairman Vince McMahon was linked with buying Newcastle United from Mike Ashley back in 2011 and then again in 2014. It was pretty hard to believe at the time, especially if you've ever watched any WWE, but the story went that billionaire Vince McMahon wanted to buy the club to help promote WWE in Europe, seeing the UK as an untapped market. While it was always just rumours, and even the most impressionable of supporters weren't quite convinced by the alleged interest from McMahon, the alleged takeover at least gave fans something new to joke about, discussing potential Royal Rumbles at St James's Park, last-minute interference from The Undertaker, and WWE superstars lining up in the black and white in front of 50,000 screaming Geordies. But of course it didn't happen, and to be honest, was it ever more than just a Chinese whisper? Next we've got Tottenham and Roman Abramovich. In 2003, Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea and turned them into a powerhouse in domestic and European football, with the club having won a Champions League, Europa League, 5 Premier Leagues, 4 FA Cups and 3 League Cups since Abramovich took over 14 years ago. The Russians' money allowed Chelsea to bridge the gap at the top and bring in the players needed to help them compete for honours, because we all know it's money that buys you happiness in football. However, it could have been a very different story according to former England manager Sven-Göran Eriksson, with the Swede claiming to have put Abramovich off buying another London club. The oil-rich tycoon was looking at either Chelsea or Tottenham, so contacted Sven for his opinion, who replied, "If you want to win the league, then Chelsea, because you only have to change half of the team." So on Eriksson's advice, it was Chelsea who benefited from Abramovich's dosh, while Tottenham continued with Daniel Levy's wheeling and dealing. Next we've got Tottenham and Mark Zuckerberg. It's back-to-back takeover talk from White Hart Lane, with chatter from earlier this summer linking Spurs with the takeover from Facebook's own Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, so it wasn't exactly the social network sensation who wanted to buy the club, but it was going to be bought using his money. In July 2017, it was reported that Tottenham had caught the interest of Iconic Capital, who handle the funds for Silicon Valley companies including Facebook owner Mark Zuckerberg, who was reportedly worth an incredible £49 billion, and Iconic Capital had reportedly been interested in purchasing Spurs since 2014, according to the report in the Sunday Times. Tottenham were quick to deny the alleged takeover talks, having found investment from elsewhere as they continued to build their new stadium. So there'll be no Social Network 2 coming to the streets of North London, and no Justin Timberlake patrolling the boardroom at the new White Hart Lane. Next we've got Leeds United and Russell Crowe. The Gladiator and Les Mis star was linked with buying Leeds United in 2015, who he is apparently a lifelong fan of, and wanted to help bring back the glory days to Ellen Road, having witnessed years of hurt, especially under Massimo Cellino, who wasn't the best owner Leeds had ever had. The film star was asked on Twitter to buy Leeds, so Crowe asked his followers whether or not they thought it was a good idea. Obviously they said yes, but after some consideration, Crowe decided against making a move to buy his club, stating through multiple tweets that he couldn't complete a takeover as it would take too much time away from his kids, knowing the amount of time and effort needed to run a sports club, having took over rugby league side South Sydney in 2006. So Leeds fans didn't get their wish and had to wait until this summer to see the back of Massimo Cellino. Next we've got West Ham United and Red Bull. The energy drink that keeps you up all night and gives you wings apparently already has a huge presence in world football, owning Red Bull Salzburg, New York Red Bulls and RB Leipzig, with the latter going from the German 5th Division to the Champions League under Red Bull's ownership and financial might. Well, in late 2016, Red Bull reportedly wanted to add another team to their bow, looking at purchasing an English club, West Ham United, who were recently valued at £200 million, with the club's location in the capital and brand new stadium believed to be a strong reason why Red Bull targeted the Hammers. However, Due to UEFA rules, Red Bull could only be a majority shareholder of the club in case they were to come up against Salzburg or Leipzig in European competition. However, no move has been forthcoming as of yet from Red Bull, with Sullivan and Gold having no intentions to sell the club. If a deal ever did happen, the Hams would sharply become one of the most hated clubs in the country and would probably be known as West Ham Red Bulls or something like that. And finally, it's Manchester United and the Red Knights. The Red Devils have been owned by the Glazer family since 2005, and the American owners aren't the most popular at Old Trafford, which was made even worse when it was revealed in January 2010 that the club had debts of up to £700 million, leading to protests from supporters, which saw a large portion of fans donning yellow and green scarves. A group then merged, known informally as the Red Knights, a group of city bankers and lawyers who intended to buy out the Glazer family and do something for the good of Manchester United and for the good of football, according to Keith Harris, who was one of the Red Knights. They would raise the money by attracting huge donations from investors, plus money from fans, but it was reported that a takeover could cost up to £2 billion. The Red Knights put their takeover bid on hold in June 2010 due to inflated value aspirations, and the Glazers remain at Old Trafford. So those are 6 huge takeover deals that didn't happen. Let us know of any more in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.